And we are back live at the 2016 NASA Eastern States Championships presented by Toyo Tires here at Watkins Glen International in Watkins Glen, New York. Our next group up is our Group D racers. We'll have the 944 Spec, Spec E30, Spec 3, and Spec E46. Jeff, let's call the order.
All right, John. Well, starting out with the Spec E46 group, in the first grid position, we've got Robert Gagliardo, followed by Ali Salih, Michael Shawn, Richard Bocanegra, Jason Tower, Damian Moses, Chadwick Moorhead, Mason Meredith, Joe Fuchs, Mathieu Lucier, Scott Rosen, Matt Eastling, Lynn Hurd, Jeffrey Hall, and Ari Below. In Spec 3, we've got Robin Sparrow on the pole position, followed by Wayne Moubre, John McAvoy, Simon Kim, and Joey Thomas. In 944 Spec, we've got Jason Stanley, Steve Brewster, Shane Denny, John Torgerson, Shannon McHugh, and Mike Cooper.
Very good. Moving along to Spec E30, a huge field here. Robert Grace, then Rob Eskew. Next up, the great Sandro Espinoza, then Larry Fraser, Ryan Whittinger, Mark Issa, Brian Edmonds, TJ Joyce, Andrew Von Charbonneau, then John Clark, Chris Cabetto, Chris Allen, Jason Griskavage, Anthony Maganoli, Cody Kishel, Ty Young, Dan Raver, then Robert Casella, Richard Montoni, Michael Kovac, Oscar Edmonds, Alex Barroso, Ed Cangialosi, Aaron Whittinger, Lawrence Canzone, Eric Pennington, then Carter Hunt. Next up, Andrew Zimmerman, then Michael Shawn, Scott Gress, Samuel Jadzak, Walter Araya, Rafael S. Prato Jr., James Mertz, Rena Below, and Alex Barroso complete our starting grid for Spec E30. Looks like we're going to have 3 waves here. I imagine Spec E30 will probably do a standing start. We'll see. We don't have any data on that, but that's a very popular way for the E30s to launch. Always exciting. Flying starts, of course, we come down the front straight. The starter waves the green flag, and they are off and running. Standing starts. The cars will come to the yellow cone on the pit wall there, line themselves up 2 by 2 stopped. Then they will launch once the starter gives them the orders. The starter will have a rolled flag, hold it in the air, unfurl it a bit, and as soon as they twitch and drop the flag, they will be away. So we'll watch for that standing start, I believe, with Spec E30. Others will be flying starts. Pace car now away with our first wave. Other waves forming up nicely. Spec E30 will probably, they don't have a pace car, but they're going to stick right on the tail of 944 Spec and operate as their own pace cars. Again, 45-minute race. Rolling off here at 12:28 or so Eastern Time.
And John, this is one of our most highly anticipated groups of the weekend. We had a lot of excitement in Spec E30 yesterday. A lot of bumper banging, a lot of little rearranged faces on these cars a little bit. But fortunately, almost all of them are back out on track for today. Some in backup cars. I know the control engineering team had to pull out a backup car after exploding a clutch disc yesterday. But hopefully, these guys will have a nice, clean race and be able to continue on through green flag to the checker.
Again, a spec class on Toyo tires, eligible for a big Toyo contingency with these big numbers in Spec E30. And as you said, it's affordable to actually have a spare car because these cars are not big cubic dollars. Field now heading out. Looks like the rest of our E30s are about to clear the grid. First wave now going through the bus stop. We'll head down into the boot. Come out of the boot, as we've been calling it, through the pines here onto the front straight. And again, this is our 3rd championship race of the weekend. Still groups C and E remaining. C, of course, will be our Super Touring 1 through 3, Super Unlimited, American Iron Extreme, and the NP01 class. Group E, the HPD Honda Challenge cars, Performance Touring B through F, Camaro Mustang Challenge, and Spec Iron coming up later this afternoon.
And John, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is going to be the inaugural championship for the NASA NP01 prototype. You know, we saw them running at the 25-hour Enduro at Thunder Hill last year, which I believe was their first actual competitive outing. And then, you know, they've been running in their own class all year this year. As you mentioned, some of our guys like Dave Belingett did a little bit of Enduro racing in them for some testing. Basically, the cars are really getting the shakedown this year. And again, first year of NP01 class racing. And so this, whoever takes home the championship today, will be our first ever NASA NP01 champion.
That's great news, and they will be coming up later today as part of that Group C race.
You know, it's always exciting when there's a fresh class like that. I remember a couple years ago when we debuted the Spec E46 class, and you know, that class has grown into one of my favorites so far. Great racing out there, and it's super cool to see cars that are so new, and you know, as you've mentioned before, John, just beautiful machines they have out there. Not to take away from the beauty of some of the older cars, but the E46s are just beautiful pieces of machinery. And it does look as though our pace car is coming out of the woods there, through the pines, as John says. Lights on the pace car are out, and our starter does have his double yellows pulled. Can see now with my sneaky little vantage point here that he does have the green flag in his hand, getting ready to toss it. So as we wait for these cars to come around turn 11, we should have a green flag on our first wave. Now the question will be, is it going to be a late one or an early one? Yesterday we saw a couple of early green flags just to sort of help the cars get out there in a more orderly fashion. But today, man, so far our starter has been holding them until the last second. So we'll see what happens here. We got a pit stop for the pace car, and the car is coming down the front straight in a somewhat orderly fashion. No green flag yet, and there it is, green flag, ladies and gentlemen. We are racing here in the Spec E46 class.
Gagliardo defending down the inside. Very nice. Oh, that's about 5 wide again. Very exciting start for our first wave. Second wave now, flying start. Pace cars off, under starters orders right now. Second wave coming to the green. Starter holding them until late. Green, green, green. 944 Spec. And Spec 3 are away. Spec E30 coming up to the line. They're going to stop right at the cone there. Do a standing start, awaiting the starter's orders. Field coming up. Everybody's all right together. They're going to form up. 2x2. And we'll be off and running in Spec E30. Again, this is a standing start, so watch for the starter to hold a furled flag up, unfurl it, and then shake it like a moneymaker. And then that they will be off and running in that Spec E30 race on their standing start.
You can see Grace down there on the line, John. He's pulled over to the right side of that dry sweep, and it looks like Espinosa's got himself in an advantageous position for this start. Over to the left a little bit of Grace.
And they're off. Wow, interesting start. Looks like Grace got hole-shotted by Espinosa.
Sure
Grace has
did.
fallen back 6 positions on the start. He may have had a little bit of trouble with that sweep, or he may have been looking down, but he definitely got hole-shotted right there.
Well, you know, it's like drag racing, John. I think he put himself outside of the rubber line. You know, that was it.
Well, and this happened to me once, Jeff. I pulled up for a standing start, and then my competitor next to me moved a little bit, and all of a sudden I was in a position where I couldn't turn my head far enough to see the starter because it was blocked by the A-pillar of my car. So I had to just wait until I heard a bunch of noise to go. So that may have been what happened too. You never know. First wave now coming around through the pines on your screen in about 5 seconds from now. Oh, actually, we're following the Spec E30 leaders through the bus stop. Look at that. Wow, they're all right together through the bus stop. First wave is coming down now through our possession, but let's watch the Spec E30 field clear. Then we'll head back to the front straight to see what is happening there. First wave now through. Jeff will update you on Spec E46, how they're running after that great start.
Yeah, John, it looks like Gagliardo has moved up into first place, passing Ali Salih who is now down in second place. Michael Sean, you know, we saw all 3 of those guys just 3 wide, maybe even 4 wide down the front straight during that very first lap, but now Sean moved back to third place, so they are back into qualifying position now, with Jason Tower moving up 2 positions into 4th place.
Spec 3 across the line, 944 Spec closely behind. Jason Stanley right already up to the back of the Spec 3 field in 944 Spec. Gonna watch for our E30s to come through. Ooh, big pass right there. Wow. Oh, we did see a hood come up there on the feed, so that's not good news. Here come our E30s right now. Looks like turn one, we may have had a car with its hood fly up. That is now not in a great place. So we're going to have... Oh, yeah. So we're going to... Do we have a yellow flying?
It does not appear so from the starter stand. It looks
maybe
like Spec E30 is going to get through there.
Ooh, look at this.
And look at Grace back up into third place, so not a bad start after all. Yeah, Eskew in front, Whittinger in second, up 3 places. Robert Grace actually only down 1, so not a terrible job by Grace. Wow, look at that. Those two just side by side as they go through the finish line there. Have to look at exactly who that was on our timing screen here. Seems like all the cars are interacting okay with the mechanical failure car we had out there.
It sounds like the car with the hood up is moving again. Fortunately, not a smashed windshield, so just a minor technical difficulty there.
Well, you know, John, that's why they paint the white lines on the sides of the racetrack. When your hood flies up, you got to direct yourself back into the pits using those.
Exactly, no problem. Problem solved.
Right?
Looks like we do have one car that's getting ready to retire. Not sure who that is just yet. Might be continuing. We had a real slow mover, 2.9 silver there.
Hey, and look at this, John. In the E46 class, Ari Below moving up 4 positions from 12th up to 8th place. So
wow,
definitely,
nice work.
Yeah, improvement from Ari there. Aristotle Below, one of our Northern California NASA drivers. Very familiar with him. He's actually been out at some other track days lately doing a lot of testing in preparation for this championship weekend. So high hopes for the Below family. You know, he's also got a relative out there in the Spec. Oh, it's one of the other Spec classes out there. I don't want to say the wrong one here, but I believe it's Spec E30. Just now, the Spec 944 is through the line. Jason Stanley still leading. Steve Brewster in second. Mike Cooper up 1 into third place, and Shane Denny down 1 into fourth. Shannon McHugh in fifth.
Stanley way out in front, harassing the back of the Spec 3 field right now in 944 Spec. Really dominating performance there thus far.
Yeah, and look at that. Just as I said it, Shannon McHugh jumped up 2 spots into third place. So excellent run there by Shannon. You know, 944 Spec class is some really solid racing. You don't see a whole lot of passing in that class.
E30s
drivers are so solid.
E30s coming down through the Verizon Bridge. Very tight racing right there. Very tight pack, and they are catching lap traffic already. That's going to really be an interesting development. Top 5 in Spec E30 so far. Rob Eskew out front, Ryan Whittinger, then Robert Grace, Sandro Espinoza, Mark Issa. That's your top 5 in Spec E30. Mounting a bit of a breakaway. Looks like the top 3 cars are starting to break away and just set a pick with one of the 944s for the rest of the field there. So we'll see how that shakes out as they come up through the S's and into the bus stop, and they try to negotiate their way around some lap traffic. Or not lap traffic, but traffic that started a little bit ahead of them. Following now through the bus stop, we'll be looking for the E30 field to come through. There they are. No changes in position. I think Espinoza's still hanging tough there, trying to catch up to that first pack of 3. Field looking good through the bus stop there. Next group through should be, I think, the front of the E46 field just went through. Watching for the rest of the field there. Spec 3 through now. Jason Stanley still way out in front, now starting to work his way through the Spec 3 field in his 944 Spec car. Spec 3 running order right now, John McAvoy up front, then Robin Sparrow, then Wayne Mowbray, Joey Thomas, and Simon Kim. Waiting for our E30 field to come through. They are through the pines right now. You should see them on your screen about 10 seconds from now. Looks like Eskew is still out front. We'll watch them coming to the line on your screen right now, coming under the Verizon Bridge. There are your E30 leaders. A little bit of a pass being mounted. Grace trying to come around the outside of Eskew. He gets it done. Right there, Whittinger was trying to follow Grace through. Can they both pull it off? Eskew held that inside line there, all going out into the rumbles. Grace and Eskew neck and neck coming into the S's. Still no lift. Grace is a bumper ahead. Now Eskew. Watch as they come into the S's here. When they come up through the bus stop, you're going to see some stuff going on there. Grace and Eskew were side by side, one in front, the other in front, the other in front.
Yeah, there was really no letting up there, and Ryan Whittinger just waiting in the wings for one of them to make a mistake, and then you know what's going to happen. He's
Here we go. Grace is out in front through the bus stop. Boy, but Eskew's right there on his tail. So Grace managed to pull it off, running an outside move and then going way to the outside there, and then just hanging tough. And it looked like right there Whittinger was going to try to follow that freight train through, but he couldn't get it done because both of those guys were side by side, and there was no lane for him to go on by. Almost 10 minutes down in this 45-minute contest so far. Very exciting. Down the front straight, we have our Spec 3 cars. Potential passes happening there. It looked like Sparrow and McAvoy were really battling there and choosing different lines as they came down. Top three still McAvoy, Sparrow, and Mowbray in Spec 3.
You know, Spec 3, another one of those classes just like 944 Spec, where the competition is very tight, and the cars don't generally do a huge amount of passing. They go out there and they run pretty solid. Their qualifying is pretty true to form, and so right now we can see they're running in qualifying order, except that John McAvoy has moved up from third into first place.
We do have a Spec 3 entry retiring right now. Looks like that is number 8. Simon Kim has retired to the back paddock.
We're looking to have our E30s cross the line yet again here. We've got some exciting stuff going on in Spec E30. Looks like Grace in the lead now with Eskew second, Whittinger in third, and look at this, up now 9 places, the 007 car of Anthony Maganoli. Anthony doing a great job out there. Last lap by, he was 8 positions up, so I mean, he's doing a great job just cutting through the field. You know, as I was looking at the hard chargers, though, there's one that I just gotta shout out here.
Whoa.
15th place, David Hickey. Now look, 15th might not be anywhere near the podium, but David Hickey is up 18 positions, so starting almost at the back, turning a 2:18.024.
Looks like we have a car spun in the middle of turn 1. He's inside the apex waiting for a clear spot to turn around. Ooh, boy, that was a little exciting. And he has self-cleared. So a little bit of drama there with a car spun sideways in the middle of turn 1, now continuing. And that was number 4 in the Spec E30 class, I believe. Looks like that was Ed Cangialosi having a little moment there, a little spin and a little sitting there while he was trying to figure out where his gap was going to be to join again. So nice work by Ed, very heads up driving there, not to pull right out in front of someone else. So thanks to all of you out there in the comment land. We just found out that we were giving David Hickey props, so it's actually Alex Barroso there in David Hickey's car. So it didn't get updated in timing and soaring, but the interweb was kind enough to let us know. Again, thanks for that comment out there. That came from, oh, Brandon Panis, son of Jim. Wonderful. Thank you, Brandon. That was very helpful. Brandon, of course, part of the NASA Southeast family, the Panis family, growing up in racing. And he's giving us the inside scoop up here in the booth. Wonderful news. So, mad props to Alex Barroso, moving up now 19 positions. Might win our hard charger award again. Our maximum hard charge did come during Spec Miata, I think it was, with the 27 position moves.
Whew.
Spec E30 across the line. We'll give you your top 10 in Spec E30.
Looks like our top 10 in Spec E30 currently are Robert Grace, who is leading, Rob Eskew in second, Anthony Maganoli in third place, Ryan Whittinger in fourth. Fifth place, Sandro Espinoza. Sixth place, Larry Frazier. Brian Edmonds in seventh, Chris Cabetto in eighth place, Jason Griscavage in ninth, and TJ Joyce rounding out that top 10.
Cabetto, a past defending champion there, and one of the early adopters of Spec E30 from way back in the day, moving up, having a nice race. Good competition all the way through all the fields. We'll give you an update of the top 5 in every field. We just did Spec E30. Let's do 944 Spec. Jason Stanley way out front, 22nd lead over Steve Brewster, then Shannon McHugh, Shane Denny, John Torgerson, and Mike Cooper.
In Spec E46 right now, we've got Robert Gagliardo leading the way, Michael Shawin in second, Ali Salih in third, Jason Tower fourth, and Damian Moses in fifth place.
Very good. Spec 3, John McAvoy still out front, then Robin Sparrow, Wayne Mowbray, Joey Thomas, and Simon Kim.
We do have just about 15 minutes elapsed out of this 45-minute race, so theoretically we've got a third of the way down. Assuming that we keep green flag racing the rest of the way through, it should be ending on time. And folks, knocking on wood here up in the announcing booth, we certainly hope that it does.
E30 leaders now coming onto your screen under the Verizon Bridge. Looks like Grace still out front. Top pack of about, here we have an inside move, going to come around the inside. Right there, Maganoli gets it done. He got Eskew down the inside, but can he hold it? We'll watch. You guys won't be able to see it. Maganoli holding it tough on the inside. Eskew right behind him on his bumper right now. Eskew's going to come around the inside, going into the S's. No, he gives him a little tap. They are right together. Looks like Eskew's going to try to come around the outside, going into the S's. Wow. Great move by Anthony Maganoli.
Some excellent racing going on there.
I noticed on the back of Anthony's car it said, "Non te preoccupare, mama." So basically he's telling his mom not to worry. So Anthony Maganoli, keep driving like that. Mama has nothing to worry about.
And you know, Anthony Maganoli really on a tear out there, running an incredibly fast time, 2:16.063, compared to Robert Grace's 2:16.957. Now, I want to call that our fast time for Spec E30. I'm looking through the ranks here to see if we have a faster one. He doesn't have the standard little icon that our racehero.io gives us. But you know what? Just from my own looking at it here, I'm going to go ahead and say that, yes, Anthony Maganoli does indeed have the fastest time in Spec E30 currently by almost a second out there.
Makes sense. Anthony was a 2012 Spec E30 national champion, so he's trying to repeat again in 2016.
A lot can happen in 4 years, John, but he is definitely out here swinging, that's for sure.
Not messing around at all. Looks like we have our Spec 3 leaders through just now. McAvoy still out in front, followed by Sparrow and Mowbray and Thomas. Simon Kim unfortunately retired earlier. Spec E46 field going to be coming through very soon. Oh, 944 Spec. There is way out in front Stanley still. Let's see how big of a lead. He stretches it to 22 seconds in the past. Pretty impressive lead there by Jason Stanley. Nice job in 944 Spec. He has dominated all weekend. Continuing that run, hoping to stay out of trouble and bring home an Eastern States Championship in 944 Spec.
Yeah, I mean, 22-second gap to the second place Shannon McHugh. I've got
Call
to
it
say,
20. Shannon just went across the line 25 seconds.
25 seconds now. I mean, you know, John, I don't see that gap getting any smaller as the race goes on.
E30 leaders now coming up. Looks like Maganoli's out in front now. Uh-oh, folks. Looks like we may have a couple cars together. And we're starting to see the double yellows. Double yellows. Unfortunately, double yellows.
The dreaded double yellow.
Well, the dreaded or the highly coveted double yellow?
Depends on what position you're in on track there, John.
I bet Larry Fraser and Sandro Espinosa are pretty happy about a double yellow coming out.
I would guess that you're probably correct in that, seeing as how they both have over a second gap to the next guys up in front of them. Also, we're seeing a Spec E30 into the pit lane here. That'd be car number 31. Looking to see who that is here. That'd be Ty Young. Ty Young running 29th place up till this point.
So we are looking for the leader to get picked up by the pace car right now, watching for Gagliardo to come around. All right, pace car does have its lights on, waiting for Robert Gagliardo to pick up. Sounds like we have an incident in turn 9. Both drivers okay. Thumbs up to the corner marshals. That's good news as always. Looks like Gagliardo will be coming soon into our view through the pines. Pace car will pick him up, slow him down so we can clear that incident over there on the back side of the course. .944 is coming across right now. And there is Gagliardo across the line now, right behind Sandro Espinosa. Now that's interesting.
Yeah.
So they're going to pick up Gagliardo and let Espinosa and the rest of the front of the E30 pack, yeah, there's Robert Grace, a whole crew, going to let them run around and get out there right in front. Oh, Jesus, the pace car got Gagliardo or not? Yeah, he did. Oh, no, Gagliardo's passing the pace car.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Rob.
That is not how you do that.
No. Oh, dear. Well, they're going to have to stage another pace car. Or the pace car is good. You know, the pace car is actually a Mustang with a whole bunch of sauce. He may go ahead and pass him back after.
That would be.
Give him the bright lights and the horn like, hey, buddy, over here. But in the heat of competition, hey, you know, you see the car coming out, and you go, I don't know, if, you know, maybe he didn't know he was the overall leader. Might not have radio comms. I tell you what, having a radio, what an advantage that is. Because you can have a radio with a spotter and being able to communicate with your crew. Of course, our good buddy Sean Sampson Racing Communications, he had provided me my first set of radios years and years ago. And it was just unbelievable what a difference that made in my life. So, hey, folks, you know, talk to Sean if you are interested in a set of radios, and he will hook you up, and it really does make a difference. Of course, you still have to have somebody to talk to on the radio, so make sure to bring someone along that can spot for you, look around the track, put them in critical positions. All of a sudden, you feel like a mad pro driver, so definitely a competitive advantage to have that going on. All right, we have trucks on site at the incident now, hoping to clear it up. Looks like we are 21 minutes in. I imagine it'll probably take them a little bit to clear it. Hopefully we don't have any wall damage that we have to repair. Just nearing the midway point of this 45-minute scheduled championship race. Let's give them the rundown, Jeff.
All right, John. Well, starting with 944 Spec, we've got Jason Stanley out in front, still holding strong there, with Steve Brewster moving back up into second place. Shannon McHugh in third place. Shane Denny fourth. John Torgerson in fifth, and Mike Cooper in sixth.
Spec E46, Rob Gagliardo out front, then Michael Shawn, Jason Tower, Damian Moses, Aristotle below, Mason Meredith, Joe Fuchs, Chadwick Moorhead, Richard Bocanegra, Matt Eastling, Jeffrey Hall, Lynn Hurd, and Ali Salih.
And in Spec 3, we've got John McAvoy leading the way, Robin Sparrow in second, Wayne Mewbury in third, and Joey Thomas in fourth. Unfortunately, Simon Kim retiring earlier on this event.
Spec E30, Robert Grace out front, then Maganoli, SQ, Whittinger, Larry Fraser, Sandro Espinosa, Brian Edmonds, Chris Cabetto, Jason Griscavage, TJ Joyce, Mark Issa, John Clark, Cody Kishel, and says, Robert, shift up Casella here. That's kind of interesting.
New nickname for Casella there. I believe yesterday he was Robert Honda Challenge Casella.
There it is. Aaron Whittinger. Then we've got Andrew Von Charbonneau, Richard Montoni, Dan Raver, Michael Kovac, Carter Hunt, Eric Pennington, Andrew Zimmerman, Oscar Edmonds, Michael Shawn, Lawrence Canzone, Scott Gress, and Ed Cangialosi. Samuel Jadzak, Rena Below, Walter Araya, Ty Young. Looks like the David Hickey car that was Alex Barroso has retired, unfortunately, or maybe he's one of the cars in the incident.
Oh, no.
And then Chris Allen is our final position in Spec E30. Let's look for that number 139 car and see if we can see it come by here.
Well, you know, and a couple of noteworthy cars gone now, John. Our car 139, who is up 19 positions.
Yep.
Appears to be out, and you know, another one I noticed,
Ali Salih
in the E46 class, unfortunately appears to be out.
Well, that's no good.
Yeah. And folks, if you want to see the timing that we're looking at right now, you're welcome to go to racehero.io. Also, if you're listening to us now, you're probably already tuned in to nasachampionships.com, where you can catch the live stream. But just in case you aren't, you know, post it on Facebook, tell all your buddies. We
wanted to give a quick shout out to one of our Northeast drivers, Sean Curran, right now is in the hospital recovering from an incident he had. We have a hashtag of StayStrong77 as that's Sean's number, and we've all been pulling for him and a lot of support for him in the paddock. So Sean, if you're watching, all of us, our thoughts are on you and hope you are well soon. We miss having you out here and we look forward to welcoming you back. So once again, everybody, shout out to Sean Curran, hashtag StayStrong77. Good thoughts on our way to Sean. Hope to see you out here soon, buddy. All right, folks, looks like we are now, halfway through, I'm going to call it. 22 minutes down. Still under control of the pace car.
Although, John, it looks like we've got our double yellows retracted now.
Really?
Oh, no, they are not. They
there.
were just hiding.
It's the wind. It's the wind.
That's right.
Interesting, though, the field looks fairly spread out. So hopefully they can all get back together, but it's going to be complicated because on a restart, you really want to have everybody right together. Because with the rules that we have, as soon as it goes green, it goes green. So you will be having, you could be on the backside of the course, and all of a sudden, you can't see the leaders. They're over in, they're in the next county. So they're over in Chemung County, you're in Schuyler County. It goes green, even if you can't see the starter waving that green flag. So hopefully we can get everybody right together. That would be very useful to have.
Well, you're right, John, and while at the starter stand, when they pull the yellows in, they do throw a proper green flag, but when you're at the individual corner stations, not all of them have green flags, and so the drivers have to be really watching carefully for them to be retracting those yellow flags. As soon as they do that, it's game on.
Very true, very true. So we'll hope that the pace car can get all of his little ducklings gathered up here. We'll be ready to go back green in our Group D race. Again, 944 spec, Spec E30, Spec 3, Spec E46. All of those Spec E30, Spec E30. Spec 3 is really the E36 chassis, so 3 generations of BMW chassis. Of course, the 944 Porsche. Porsche's somewhat budget sports car, but still an incredible car. 50-50 weight distribution out of that. Wonderful cars, great build quality, so all we look for in a spec car spread amongst these 4 different classes racing with us here today. Field now looks like they are through the pines, so the pace car is trying to slow them down and gather them up.
And yellow's still out, light's still on the pace car, John, so it does look like as though we will have at least one more lap under yellow. Hopefully not more than that, though. We're creeping up on the 30-minute mark for this 45-minute session, and time for green flag racing is starting to run out. John, mentioning all of these spec classes as well as the GTS classes we've got, with the plates and weights and things like that, just definitely want to give a shout out to our technical staff. Those guys who put the rule books together, they really have to do a lot of number crunching and a lot of serious deep thought to get these things worked out. But they do such a great job of it, and we have them to blame directly for this awesome racing we've got going on, folks. So the rule makers at NASA doing a great job making those spec classes exactly how they should be. Same with the GTS classes, just figuring out exactly what the right power to weight ratio formula is. These drivers complying to it and going out there and doing some fantastic heads-up racing.
Listening in, I can now see one of the flatbeds is going to be coming around with one of the cars that got smushed there. Waiting to hear whether there's any wall damage to be repaired. Hopefully not. We can get back to green flag racing here pretty quick. Looks like that is the 139 car on the back of the flatbed.
Alex Barroso, tough break. I mean, you know, he made up 19 positions out of 33. I mean, that is really incredible. He passed over 2/3 of the whole field, and then unfortunately that was where his race ended.
Wow, the front end is cleaned off of that one pretty impressively. Hearing over the different channels here that they are trying to load up the other car that was in that incident. Little track cleanup hopefully, and then we will be back underway. Again, many thanks to our safety crews and our corner marshals here at Watkins Glen for taking care of us and our drivers and doing their best to keep us on time and on the track. So it looks like one of the cars has been cleared from that incident. Waiting now to hear about the potential for wall damage, but all we were hearing right now is just that they're going to have to do a lot of sweeping because there was some, as we've been putting it, schmutz out on the track. Folks, and we are now hearing over the control channel that we are going to probably, unfortunately, end this race right now because they are going to have some significant repairs to perform. That's a bummer. You know, we're ending at 15 minutes early, but then again, it's going to take a while to do all that, and we probably would not be able to get them back. In the judgment of all the crews, we wouldn't be able to get them back on site in time to complete this race, so they will come around under the pace car for their checker.
Well, John, you know, with the condition of Barroso's car we saw coming in, I guess it's not surprising that there is some wall damage out there that needs to be repaired. It is an unfortunate end to this race. You know, we had some excellent heads-up racing up to this point, but you know what, folks out there, this is how it goes sometimes, and we are going to have to end it on this note. But remember, we are going to have our lunch break, and coming up shortly after, we've got 2 more championship race groups. And remember, folks, these races are for all of the marbles.
And folks, we'll go ahead while we're here, and we're just going to give you a quick update on where we are with our time trial competition thus far. Uh-oh.
Well, folks, while John is pulling up the official finishing times for these guys in the TT classes, I can give you a couple of the times from our previous TT sessions we've had so far today.
Looks like we've got it up, Jeff, now. Sorry, we had a little problem there, but we are going to give you... All right, well, Jeff, let's do this. While I'm struggling with technology, why don't you go ahead and run down the finishing order now for our Group D race.
That sounds just fine, John. I can go ahead and do that here while you're pulling up those time trial times. Be glad to. Just wait for my technology to get working here. All right, so 944 spec, folks. It looks like our finishing position is as follows. First place, Jason Stanley, followed by Steve Brewster, Shannon McHugh, Shane Denny, John Torgerson, and Steve Brewster rounding out that top 6. Spec E46, we've got Robert Gagliardo, Michael Shawn, Jason Tower, Damian Moses, Ari Below, Mason Meredith, Joe Fuchs, Chadwick Moorhead, Richard Bocanegra, Matt Eastling, Jeffrey Hall, Lynn Hurd, and Ali Salih rounding out the 13 Spec E46 drivers. In Spec 3, John McAvoy for the win, followed by Robin Sparrow, Wayne Mowbray, Joey Thomas, and Simon Kim. And now for the big class out on track right now, Spec E30. First place goes to Robert Grace, followed by Anthony Magnoli with a massive 11th place gain, finishing in second. In third place, Rob Eskew. Fourth place, Ryan Whittinger. Fifth place, Larry Frazier, followed by Sandro Espinoza, Brian Edmonds, Chris Cabetto in eighth place, Jason Griscavage, TJ Joyce rounding out the top 10, Mark Issa, John Clark, Cody Kishel, Robert Casella, Aaron Whittinger in 15th place, Andrew Von Charbonneau in 16th, Richard Montoni, Dan Raver, Michael Kovac, Carter Hunt, Eric Pennington, Andrew Zimmerman, Oscar Edmonds, Michael Sean, Lawrence Canzone, Scott Gress, Ed Cangelosi, Sam Jadzak, Rena Below, Walter Araya, Ty Young, and of course our retirees, Alex Barboso and Chris Allen. And that rounds out our 33 Spec E30 drivers, folks.
Well, sorry to see it end that way with this race. We were looking forward to going green to checker with no incidents, but that's not how it shook out today for our 944 Spec E30, Spec 3, and Spec E46 drivers.